we're going to cover what I like to call the buttonology of a pistol. So to start things off, I have my Shadow Systems MR920, no magazine, clear firearm, and then same thing, a SIG P365, no magazine, chamber empty. I do have 2 empty magazines here. This one for my Shadow Systems, this one for my SIG. You can see there's no ammo in it. So the first thing I want to cover is, why do I have 2 guns out? So while these 2 firearms are very, very different, sorry about that. While these 2 firearms are very, very different, I want to show you that the buttonology on them is practically the same as with most pistols will be. So the first thing that we're going to cover is your magazine release. So if I insert my magazine release is what will actually allow that magazine to fall free from the firearm. So without me pushing this, that mag is stuck in there. Now if I push it inward, this is one of those things where without having the firearm in your hand, it's kind of hard to understand what I mean. But the magazine release pushes in, so this direction, okay? That will make the magazine fall. I'll do it again. There you can see the magazine falls. Again, I will push it and then not catch the magazine. Same exact thing with my SIG P365. Magazine release is here. Again, magazine is locked in. Now I push inward and it does the same thing. Now, the reason it's important is with every firearm, almost all the striker fired firearms, you will have the magazine release behind the trigger on the frame. This is because of the fact that it's usually easy for you to reach with your thumb. Same thing with this one, I can reach it with my thumb. Some firearms are ambidextrous, so you'll be able to have it on this side. This one I can flip it to the left-hand side, so that way if I'm a lefty, I can still press that magazine release. The next thing that we are going to go over is your slide lock or slide release. So here on your P365, it is here. If I push this up, so magazine release is in, this is up. So I'm pushing up, and you can see, actually on the SIG, you can't really see it. Here on my Shadow Systems, I have the same thing. I push down, and it releases the slide forward. I push up, and it will lock it into place. On here, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but there is a notch right here. Let's see if I can get it to focus. Yep, so right there, you can see the little notch in the slide. So that is where my slide release is actually sliding into. So I have to continuously push this up while I'm pulling that slide back until this gets into that groove. And then when the slide's pressure from the spring pushes it forward, it'll actually lock it into place. I can either pull the slide back and release it to send it forward, or I can push this slide release down. And it is the same thing with my SIG. You can see that it is up. I pull it back, slide release drops. Same thing, press and hold up or press it down. Now the next thing is the takedown lever. On the SIG, it is actually a lever. So usually right in front of your slide lock, slide release is a takedown lever. So you see I turn that lever, and then if I send the slide forward, I can pull the entire slide off. This is going to be used for cleaning, field stripping, things like that, making sure there's no issues. And then I will push it back, and actually it automatically did it for me. But once I locked it in place, that slide, or that takedown lever flips back, and firearm's perfectly fine. Now with the Shadow Systems, this is very similar to a Glock. It does not have a lever. It has these 2 little notches here. So again, same thing. Some firearms, they want it locked to the rear. Others, like the Glocks, you can just pull back just enough. You can see it's out of battery here to pull down, and then pull the trigger, and you can see the slide jump forward a little bit. That means my slide will come right off. Now with this one, all I have to do is put the slide on and then rack it a couple times, and it's perfectly fine. That's for pretty much all the firearms you see. You will find those 3 items. You will have your magazine release, your slide release or slide lock, and then a takedown lever of some sort. Now the positioning may be slightly different. As you can see, they're not exactly the same, but they are very similar. And then other firearms, you will have a manual thumb safety. You'll have a thumb safety that goes back here, that usually down is fire, up is safe. The Ruger SR22s are backwards, up is fire, down is safe. So that's where it just gets into knowing your specific firearm, looking over the owner's manual, things like that. As far as buttonology, other than your trigger, which everyone should know, this is your trigger. This one does not have a trigger safety. This one does. You can see the little portion sticking out there. Now, everyone should know trigger. You don't put the trigger or your finger in the trigger or on the trigger or in the trigger well. So this right here is your trigger well until you are ready to fire. So if I'm dry firing, right, once my sights are aligned and I've looked at my target, now I can begin putting my finger on the trigger. It's the same thing with this one. Being that it doesn't have a trigger safety, it's a little bit easier. So one of the things that we got to focus on is just learning your specific firearm. If you have questions, when you buy that gun, ask the people at the store. Ask the store clerks, hey, can you give me a quick rundown on how to drop the magazine, lock the slide to the rear? Don't be afraid to be in the gun store and learn from them. That's what they do. They do that on a daily basis. So the only downside to it is if you get a gun store that's unfriendly, because as you're a beginner, you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna end up putting your finger in the trigger well. You're gonna do little things like that by accident, and that's where the gun store should help you. They should be like, hey, make sure you don't have your finger on the trigger, right? Now, yes, a lot of people are very hesitant with it. As long as you have no ammunition, you know the firearm is clear, this thing is nothing more than a hunk of metal and plastic. And that's one thing that we've got to get back to understanding. These are nothing more than tools. This is no more dangerous than this. Now, once I load it with ammunition, yes, it can become much more dangerous. But until it is loaded, this is nothing more than a hunk of metal and plastic. So we need to get back to that, and we need to focus on training and learning your guns. So thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it. Make sure you like and subscribe to the videos. I will be trying to post more videos. If you have any suggestions on videos you'd like to see, please post them in the comments. Let me know. I will check all of them and make sure that I can try to make those videos for you in a timely manner. I'm trying to start putting out weekly videos, and we'll go from there. But as always, guys, stay safe out there and have a great one.